You've been working hard to get lean and have succeeded in your efforts. But now that it's time to focus on gaining more muscle by transitioning into a bulk, you are concerned about gaining too much fat. If this is the situation you're in currently, let me inform you about a concept known as lean bulking. In this video, I'll go into what lean bulks are and why they're worth considering if you're trying to gain muscle while minimizing fat gain. Even though there is research showing that most people can gain some muscle while losing fat, this is not the best approach if maximizing muscle growth is the goal. To lose fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit. This calorie deficit puts you in a suboptimal environment for muscle growth. Gaining muscle is a process that requires quite a bit of energy. If you restrict your calories by staying in a calorie deficit, your body does not have the required energy to optimize anabolic processes. This helps explain why research shows that muscle protein synthesis is decreased if you're restricting your calories. So the whole idea behind a bulking phase is that you consume more calories so that your body has more energy to put towards gaining muscle. But it's worth emphasizing that eating more only works up to a certain point. Muscle growth is a slow process. If we look at models created by researchers in the field that predict how much muscle someone can gain, we see that most natural trainees can gain about 2 pounds of muscle per month, and this is an absolute most. Advanced lifters will gain muscle at an even slower rate than that. Since muscle growth is slow, it makes sense to also take on a slow bulking approach in which you only maintain a small calorie surplus, and there is research to support the benefits of a slower bulk. Research by the Norwegian School of Sports Sciences divided 39 trained individuals into two groups. One group maintained a small calorie surplus, whereas the other group maintained a large calorie surplus. Obviously, the group that ate more calories also gained more weight, but that extra weight wasn't muscle, it was fat. The group that maintained a small calorie surplus gained the same amount of muscle as the group that ate 600 calories more per day. So it's not logical to aim to gain 4 pounds or more of body weight if your body is only capable of gaining 2 at most. Even if you don't mind extra fat gain in the short term, you're still better off keeping your bulk relatively slow. There's research suggesting that you tend to gain more fat and less muscle if you overeat while you are at a high body fat percentage. For most people, I'd suggest maintaining a calorie surplus of around 200 to 300 calories per day. Especially if minimizing fat gain is your goal, then this will be beneficial. A simple way to calculate your own individual bulking calories is by multiplying your body weight in pounds by 15 and adding 200 to 300 calories on top of this number. So if we take a 170 pound male as an example, this means that this person needs to maintain around 27 to 2800 calories during a lean bulk. Based on how you progress over time, you can adjust your calories. If you're not gaining any weight, then you can increase calories by another 10%, and if you're gaining more than 2 pounds per month, you can decrease your calorie intake. Now that we have your calories covered, let's briefly look into macronutrient intake during a lean bulk. The most important variable when it comes to macronutrients remains protein intake. The research is very simple. High protein diets result in more muscle growth than low protein diets. So aim to have a protein intake of about 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of your total body weight. Practical protein sources you can incorporate into your nutrition include beans, chicken, beef, and eggs. When it comes to dietary fat, you want to make sure that you consume a minimum amount of fat so that you can support general health and also hormonal health while being in a bulk. Keeping your fat intake around 0.3 to 0.6 grams per pound of your body weight is generally a good aim. I would not recommend a full-blown ketogenic diet simply because there's recent research showing that muscle growth is lower if you do a bulk on a ketogenic diet. Now that we know how much protein and fat you need, the remainder of your calories can come from carbohydrates. As long as you have a carbohydrate intake of at least 3 grams per kilogram of your total body weight, you should have enough carbs in your diet to support training performance. Make sure that some of your daily carbs come from fruits and vegetables so that throughout your bulk, you still get a wide variety of vitamins and minerals in your system. A factor we haven't really discussed yet, but is essential as well during your bulk, is your training. In essence, your training doesn't have to change up much. The only two things that are different is that you need less cardio if you were doing extra cardio in your fat loss phase, and now you may be able to handle slightly higher training volumes since you eat a bit more. During a bulk is the time to fully focus on consistency, since this is where most of your progress will be made. So if you have a certain underdeveloped muscle group, like calves for example, during a bulking phase this muscle group can improve the most if you progressively overload it. So take that into account when planning your workouts. If you currently are looking for a good training program, I would check out my 3-day full body routine. I also made a few YouTube videos on it on this channel, so check that out. Now, something that is worth emphasizing about lean bulking is that it's a slow process, so you need to give yourself some time. If muscle growth is the goal, I would have a bulking to cutting ratio of 3:1. So for every 3 months of bulking, you have 1 month of a fat loss phase. You can accomplish this by doing 6 months of lean bulking and 2 months of cutting, but you can also bulk for 3 months and have a 1-month mini cut. Either way, try to keep the 3:1 bulking ratio in place so that you can reap the full benefits of a lean bulk. And that's all for this video. I hope this gives you a better idea of how you can set up a lean bulk to gain muscle while minimizing fat gain. If you like this video, then leave me a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and I hope to see you in the next video.